Welcome to this week's episode of Those Two Guys Talk Disney. I actually waited this time until I started seeing the counter. I'm sorry that we actually... This is not going to come out on the week it was supposed to originally. Schedules. I mean, that's just what it all boils down to, schedules. We got our own personal lives we have to deal with first before anything like this comes. But this week we're actually going to talk about Flight of the Navigator. Next week's episode will be Wall-E.
Wall-E.
And then I think the following will be Xenon, the girl of the 21st century. Kind of sticking to a space theme for some reason this time. The only thing I haven't found is the series because I haven't found a real true space theme series. So we may skip that one because we'll be rolling into February by then. So I think we'll be good there. And we'll plan the series out for that one after. Unless we want to do Disney Junior show, which is Miles.
Not a bad show, by the way.
No, it's not a bad show. But on to our topic today. Flight of the Navigator. This technically is not a Disney movie. It is actually owned by somebody else, but Disney has the distribution rights in the States. So still a Disney movie. When it was put out, it was still put out under the Disney name, therefore we're counting it. The synopsis for this movie is...
If you want to know, it was actually distributed by Buena Vista Distribution.
Disney. That's not. It's actually owned by somebody else. I can't remember, but the initials are POS.
PSO.
Oh, PSO.
Producer Sales Organization.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But the synopsis. This 1978 Disney adventure tells the story of the 12-year-old David, who lives with his family in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, when he awakens from being accidentally knocked out in the forest near his home. He finds that 8 years have passed. His family is overjoyed to have him back, but just as perplexed as he is by the fact that he hasn't aged. When a NASA scientist discovers a UFO nearby, David gets the chance to unravel the mystery and recover the life he lost.
Let me tell you, I just watched this recently, and man...
Literally right before we recorded.
Yeah. It was pretty decent. It was kind of weird, like, as the time period that came out, man,
It was, but it was actually a pretty good movie.
It was kind of weird to follow.
Overall, it was a pretty good movie. It released on July 30th, 1986. I'm sure that's one of the dates you had.
Yeah. Yeah, I got July 30th, 1986 and August 1st, 1986.
Yeah, so
either way, 86.
The runtime on it is 90 minutes, so it's an hour and a half long. That's actually a pretty good length for a Disney movie, so way to go. The budget was only $9 million. Box office doubled it at $18.6 million.
And the film is notable for being one of the first Hollywood films to use extensive CGI.
Yep, it was production filmed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Norway. And uses a lot of CGI.
It's also known to be one of the first Hollywood productions to feature an entirely electronic music film score.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Actually, there is one thing in here for like the cast. Let me see.
Composed using a synclavier, one of the first digital multi-track recorders and samplers. Sorry about the interruption.
I thought I had it down here. Oh, maybe it's not this one. Maybe it's the next one. Oh, it is. It's the next one. My bad. The next movie I was thinking about. The cast is Joey Kramer, David Freeman, which is the main guy in the movie. Veronica Cartwright, Helen Freeman. Cliff DeYoung, Bill Freeman. So I'm assuming his parents. Sarah Jessica Parker. Carolyn McAdams.
Yeah, this is actually... It was one of her early film appearances. Nice there, Jessica Parker, actually.
Matt Adler, Jeff Freeman as a 16-year-old. Albie Whitaker, Jeff Freeman, 8-year-old. So I didn't realize at first that he should actually be 20. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't realize 12-year-old, 8 years, he should be 20. I don't know why it didn't click with me. I have no reason not to, it shouldn't have. Howard Hessen, Dr. Louis Faraday. And the rating on it is 84% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a damn good score. 6.9 out of 10
on IMDb, yeah.
So decent score on the rating. I mean, and I agree with it.
It actually developed a cult following among science fiction and Disney fans, and they apparently had plans for a reboot were announced in 2021. So apparently they're planning on rebooting it.
Yeah, did you see if they reboot it though? They actually want the person that it happens to be a girl, not a boy. I don't know why that matters. I don't really understand why that
it might not be that it really matters. It might just be because they want to change it up a little bit.
Oh, and maybe that's
go a different route with it.
As I watched this earlier today, how did this movie start? I don't remember. Jay literally just watched this before we came upstairs. Like, he watched it like 10 minutes before we actually walked up the stairs.
I don't remember exactly how it starts.
I know how it ends. I literally watched it.
I know it's 4th of July. He's like out in the woods, I guess, looking for his brother.
Yes, but...
with a dog, but I don't remember anything that happened before that.
Oh, well, let's look at this up, because I don't remember.
We'll see, at the very beginning of it, I was also trying to take my notes. Mm-hmm. So I was looking up and down, like...
Flight of the Navigator. Real professional here. To the point, I'm actually looking up Wikipedia. Damn. Alright, 4th of July in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 12-year-old David Freeman walks through the woods to pick up his 8-year-old brother. They're actually loading up into... Oh, I remember how it starts now. They're at the park for the frisbee...
Right, yeah.
For the dog frisbee contest.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's trying to get his dog to catch the frisbee, but his dog won't.
Now you say that.
They load up in the family station wagon. And they are driving, and his little brother and him are fighting the whole time in the back, naturally. And they actually, he sees his friends. He asks if he can just, play at their house, and he gets out and he goes plays. And they call each other names. Yeah. And they go back to their house, and he has a buttload of fireworks. And he's going to shoot these fireworks off that day. But it starts getting darker, and his mom says, hey, we're going to get some burgers, and then we're going to shoot off the fireworks that you have. Can you go with your brother? And he goes, I'm sure he can walk through the woods. It's like 20... It's like half a mile through the woods. He goes, it's really not that long. And she goes, just go get him. Well, his brother scares him. He falls down a ravine, and it knocks him out. That's all you see.
His brother doesn't knock him down the ravine?
No, but it scares him, and he...
No, his brother scares him, and then starts walking away with it. He goes to find the dog. Oh. The dog was a dog. The dog is looking down in the ravine. And he's like, what are you looking at? And then I guess the ground gave way or something, and he falls down in the ravine.
All right, well, I knew there was other stuff
going on. And it's crazy because, it doesn't even seem like he's laying there very long. He falls, and then also, he looks like he's getting back up.
The very next scene, it's literally, he falls, you see him laying there, and then the very next scene, you see him wake up and get up.
He literally get up, and he comes out of the woods, and it's 8 years later. It's like, what the heck?
And he hops back over the wall like he did on the way into the forest. He
walks into his house.
He goes up to his house. And tries to open the door.
Let me in.
Yelling at his brother, calling his brother names, which, what brother doesn't do that?
And of course, some stranger opens it.
And then a strange old lady opens the door. And he just, barges into these people's house.
Running around yelling for his parents, running up the stairs. Goes to the one room, it's just some strange guy.
Well, then the cops get called, and he's down. The next scene, he's in the police station.
And then the cops are talking, like, across the room from him. And you see him holding a, like, missing persons flyer in their hand. And you hear him talking, like, saying the description of him. And the guy's like, look at the date.
It was actually the lady that's saying, no, look at the date.
Yeah.
He is presumed dead.
Yeah.
So they load him up, and they drive him to his parents' new address.
The guy also gets out and tells him to stay there. But then he sees his dad walking come to the door or whatever. He hops out. The female
Looking old.
The female officer's like yelling at him to get back or whatever. He just goes, "Why are their dad?" Of course, his mom and dad are freaking out because they thought he was dead.
Like I said, they're looking old.
And then he faints or whatever, and wakes up and he's in the hospital. He's like, "What's going on?"
And that's actually where he meets his little brother.
And then they're like, "Ask your brother," and then his brother's like standing in the shadows of the doorway, so you can't really see him. You just see like the shadow or outline of him.
But you see the outline of his glasses.
Like
so
talking
it's
to
his
him.
brother.
And he's like, "You're not my brother." And then they start like calling each other names. He pulls out a missing person flyer. He's like, "Mom, baby, put these things everywhere."
But he didn't. So when they finally get him out of the hospital, NASA shows up.
Yeah.
And offers to help him. Says, just give me 48 hours.
Well, that's because NASA gets a report somehow from the hospital when they were like doing tests because like his brain
his brain activity
made a picture of the spaceship or whatever, and somehow NASA got a hold of that. Which is why they showed up.
Well, then they convinced him to go with them for 2 days. Said, that's all you got to come with us, 2 days.
48 hours.
Give us 48 hours and we'll have some answers. Well, on the drive there, he's hearing the spaceship talk to him. And he doesn't really understand. Well, then they put him in this room, which, by the way, his room is actually pretty sweet. Got his own TV.
It got a nice little setup in there, man.
Yeah. Gave him a bunch of toys. I mean...
Got a chair, like a nice looking chair in there and everything. Like, nice setup.
The downfall is he has 2 glass in his room. Not cool. Because the whole point of it is so they can monitor him. That's not cool. And they lock him in his room. Then shortly after locking him in his room, the robot comes in.
I did not realize that's who did the voice of Max.
Who?
Paul Rubens.
Oh.
Pee-wee.
Oh. Yeah.
I did not realize
I don't know why I didn't have that one wrote down.
Yeah, he's credited for he's the voice of Max, the spaceship, I guess.
Yeah, that's the spaceship's name.
I didn't realize that's who that was.
But in walks... A robot comes in.
Scares the crap out of me, by the way.
Because he's talking. And he just basically runs into him. And then in walks a lady. Carolyn Adams.
A.K.A.
McAdams. She introduces herself to him.
A.K.A. Sarah Jessica Parker.
With purple hair. And then she talks about being in a concert the night before with her friends. And he said his parents took him to the Bee Gees concert like a couple of days before, and he asked who she's seen. She said Twisted Sister. He goes, never heard of her, and she goes, it's a he.
Actually, it's a band.
And he goes, really? And she goes, actually, it's more than he. And then they started, so they're talking about, back and forth about that, and then she gives him food and then introduces him to the robot and explains what the robot does there, and then walks the robot out of the room. But he also asks her for next time she comes back if she can bring him a Big Mac, large fry, and a Coke. He said if those still exist, and she goes, well, it depends. Do you want classic Coke?
Diet Coke?
Diet Coke? He just starts running through all the different Cokes. And he goes, What? Just never mind. Well, then he's also asking him to call his parents, but the scientist won't let him call his parents without.
He promised him he could call his parents.
Which he does eventually get to call his parents. Unfortunately, he can't tell his parents anything.
Yeah.
Without the scientist cutting in, which is why the scientist said, we'll make that call later, together. Because he wanted to make sure he couldn't tell his parents anything.
Yeah.
And they end up hooking him up to a bunch of machines to test his brainwave and make sure that, the machines and him were in sync.
Like every time they asked a question, like his mind or whatever would just automatically answer was just stuff.
Like, what's your name? And it was David Scott Freeman. Then asked, questions about like when he's in the woods and stuff like that. And he started going, I don't remember, but his mind would pop it up on the screen. And then it started doing all those different weird alien letters.
Yeah.
And then it started going through star charts.
And then they asked where you from, and it started going through the star charts, and it showed, I guess, the galaxy, whatever, the planet, wherever it's from. And showing all, and David's like, who put it on the screen? And he freaks out, yanks everything off, runs out. I mean, obviously he's scared. He has no idea what's going on.
Well, then he talks to Carolyn about getting him out, but he does it in a way that they wouldn't know he's asking her for that. So he realizes
he stands over here against the wall, not in front of the double-sided window,
and he doesn't talk real loud.
And he's talking real quiet and stuff, and she talks to it to where it's not obvious. Just answer it, dude.
Well, so after she leaves, you get the scene where he's actually laying in bed. Well, then he gets a message from the spaceship, and the spaceship's telling him, "Look, you come over here. I got answers for you." That kind of stuff. And he goes, "I can't get there." Next thing you know,
he's smart though.
The robot comes back in his room.
Yeah.
And he climbs inside the robot.
He grabs his bag and stuff and the hat and climbs inside it. Yeah, he's smart.
And
he pulls the curtain over in front of the window and puts a shirt on. The climber so I can't see him get in there. And it just rides right past him.
Yeah.
Past all kinds of guards and stuff.
Yep. Nobody ever thinks twice about it.
It gets over to the other. I don't know what it's called.
It's a hangar.
Hangar. Where the other guards sit there and they put a passcode in and open the door for the robot to go right in. He just chilling inside it for a ride.
But he gets to the spaceship and the spaceship actually opens up for
Almost
him.
got caught one time. Just because the dog started barking. And the guard walking down was like, come on.
Well, he gets there and the spaceship opens up for him. Which creates... the door drops.
It's it melts like a water puddle and then into the stairs.
And then it forms into stairs. Which actually pretty cool. And then he climbs in. It's just mirrors. Inside the spaceship's just mirrors.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Mirrors, glass. I don't know what you're going to call it.
Well, mirrors are glass,
it was crazy looking.
But he's in there talking to the spaceship. And the spaceship is actually explaining why he needs him.
Tells him he's a navigator.
Tells him that they realize, they actually did abduct him. He couldn't take him back to his time.
Because he blew a fuse when he crashed.
Well, he said it was dangerous for him to go back in time, so he had to just drop him off, in this present time. And says that he couldn't leave because he was looking at daisies and he accidentally hit a power line and it fried it erased all of his memory of the stars.
Meanwhile, one of the guards notices that the door was open in the stairs and he starts alerting everybody.
Yeah. And so they all run in. They're got guns drawn on this kid and everything. So he's telling him, "You're the navigator, and you just tell me where to go, and we'll go."
It's like, well, let's get out of here.
And so the spaceship does.
It like breaks the chains.
He closes up the steps. He starts moving very slowly, ends up snapping the chains, moves out of the hangar. And then he says, go 20 miles away.
My house is like 20 miles from here. He shoots straight up 20 miles.
And then just hovers there. And then he said, no, take me back down to the ground. So he just drops immediately.
And like gets like right above it, dead stop.
Just high enough that he's not going to land on people. Just high enough.
If I was in the people standing underneath it, I would have just pooped my pants. I'd be like, whoo! Oh, I gotta go home. I gotta get some clean on these. I was gonna get squished. And he's like, well, what the heck was that? He's like, that was just a class 3 navigation thing or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that was a class 3, what's a class 1? And then they like the ship like forms into like looks different and just blast out of there real fast.
Well,
the kids just sitting there.
Well, then at one point they actually go underwater.
Yeah, he's like, he tells them to go somewhere that they can't be found, so it just goes.
After he has him stop 20 miles away, so he can get out and pee.
And he's trying to fill the cows. There's like 8 cows around, and he's standing there trying to pee, and then like the navigator thing's just hanging out the door. What are you doing?
And he goes, can I get a little bit of privacy?
I don't understand privacy.
But he does get back on board.
Well, it's funny when he's talking. He's like, I don't know what pee is. What's pee?
Well, then he goes underwater, and he's just kind of explaining to him, what they were doing, how they do it, all that kind of stuff, which is really interesting.
Yeah, apparently, he like travels around at different times and takes stuff so he can study it.
Yeah, and then returns it back to its time.
Which is why they took the kids. He was going to study the kid, but then he crashed. And
then they realized that humans only use 10% of their brain.
Yeah.
So they actually filled the other part of his brain with star charts.
Yeah.
And that's what he needed from the kid.
Yeah. And then he like opens up the thing so he can like where he's gonna like take the maps from the kid's brain or whatever. And he has like all kinds of other species just sitting around in there. And he like was a giant eyeball.
Yeah.
Just a giant eyeball.
But he's also telling this kid, about all these different creatures. And it says, don't get too close. They're hungry.
And then the creature like eats his hat.
The creature rips the hat off his head and eats it. And then burps. Then he found this itty bitty animal.
He let him hold it and he was playing with it, tickling it. And
then it says that
he's like, look, it's laughing.
He can't return it back to his time because his planet was destroyed.
He's like, what's laughing? What's that for? It makes you feel happy. You should try it. So then you hear the computer like start laughing.
But it's funny because the computer, after he does the memory thing with him, it ends up taking some of that personality.
Starts calling him names like him and his brother do.
And like his whole attitude changes. All of a sudden, he's just cool. And he just kind of explains to him like how to drive their ship and everything.
Oh, because he's like, well, if you're the navigator, then you fly it. So he's like going all wonky, and he's like, oh god, I guess what? He's trying to find where he's got to hit it. He's like, it's right under your nose. He's like, oh. He's like, well, what if I can fly this? So somehow he knows how to bring up the hand control.
He figures it out. He starts figuring it out.
He's like, if I want to go right, just go. One of my favorite parts though is when they stop at that gas station.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he talks to the attendant guy. He's like, can I just change the phone home? And so he's just sitting there, and these other people pull up, and he just doesn't move. Like, he's just staring at the spaceship, and this guy's like, okay.
Well, yeah, then when he gets back on, he leaves. He goes, he just wanted the phone home.
Like, the kids, the people's kids were just over there by the stairs, like, get away from there. He's like, they're solid, they just kind of wiggle a little, they don't move.
But yeah, he figures out how to drive this, and he starts talking to Max, and Max says, "Oh, I know where this is at," and he flies him to Tokyo. He goes, "This isn't Florida. This is Tokyo."
I think it's when he stops at the gas station when he calls his brother.
Well, that's when he gets to Florida. When he finally gets to Florida, he stops at Al's Gator Stop or something like that.
Yeah.
And which alligator.
And he tells his brother, he's like, "Hey, I don't know exactly what the house is. Give me directions. Like, just make it visible from the sky, and I'll find it."
Well, they finally figured out how to get to Fort Lauderdale.
So what's his brother do? He goes and digs out all them fireworks
Yeah, and then climbs up on the roof. And
that he
starts
apparently
shooting
still
them off the
had
roof.
8 years later.
Yeah. But he starts shooting them off the roof. Of course, they're 8 years old, so half of them aren't going to go off.
Yeah, they're going wonky and falling over.
But he finally does get some of them to actually explode.
Meanwhile, the house was all kind of surrounded by all kinds of cops and stuff, waiting for them because they knew they were going to be coming there. And the scientists are there.
But yeah, he does find where he's supposed to go. He shows up. He starts to come off. Well, they start surrounding him, so he stops. And he said, "I don't belong here anymore." Tells his family that he loves them. And then gets back in the spaceship. And it basically convinces Max to take him back in time.
Yep.
Max goes, "You could be incinerated." He goes, "I don't care." He goes, "I don't belong here." And Max does take him back to his time.
And it works.
Yeah, works perfectly. He remembers everything.
He gets up in the woods, goes back home, goes to walk out the door, and then his parents yell at him, they're like, "Hey, come on!" And they're down in the boat with the fireworks, getting ready to go out on the river or whatever.
With his brother.
Yeah. And so he tells his mom and dad he loves him. He grabs his brother and tells his brother, "I love you too." And they all look. And I'm like, "What's wrong with you?"
Well, then the dad goes, "All right, let's get going." And he just tosses the rope. And then they start going, so the parents aren't paying attention. Well, then that little creature he's
comes
playing.
out of the bag. And his brother, you see it too?
Yes, I did.
I saw it. Let me go. And his brother, like, sees it and he's like, shh.
And then just pushes it back down in his bag.
Yeah, I seen it go. I sit back. I just hit the fridge cord.
Yeah, I seen that. But that is actually the end of the movie right there. Overall,
Honestly, I was kind of hoping it would like jump 8 years to see, to show you where he was at now that he went back to his time and got to live that whole time.
I almost bet he winds up with.
I was kind of hoping
Carolyn.
it would jump 8 years to see if he actually like went and found her, that scientist lady.
I almost bet he did.
Because she told him that he was cute, and she asked him if any girl ever told him that. But I was kind of hoping it would like show 8 years later where he was actually 20 years old.
Yeah, I almost bet he did.
Let's see if he found her, because I thought it'd be cool. And that's how it ended up.
Yeah, they didn't show that though, unfortunately.
No, just ended it with them on the boat. 4th of July.
But that's our movie.
It was a good movie, though. I
It was.
really enjoyed it.
I actually enjoyed this movie. I'm actually glad Beth suggested this one.
I'm glad she's doing. I'm glad I actually watched it.
This actually does cover our plan: one older, one newer, one decom, and then a series. Like I said, series with the space theme. There are some, but not like we could do Star Wars.
Yeah, it's to be owned by Disney now.
But I don't want. I want to do when we do Star Wars. I want to do them in order. So I want to do like where they actually fit in the order, and not just because we need a space theme. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Because that's BS. I would much rather hold off on that. Because we're probably going to have at least a 2 month Star Wars thing. Maybe 3. Because there's 9 movies. And we're like 15 shows now that we'd have to talk about. So I didn't want to just do one and we haven't covered any of the Star Wars movies. So that's why we're not doing a series. There's actually a cartoon, but I didn't really want to pile more onto us, try to get watched before But like I said, then we'll be rolling into February anyway, so I'm cool with skipping the series this time. But yeah, Xenon will be the third one. Whoa. And then we'll just roll right into February stuff. We do have some changes coming to this, to our studio. Actually, it's going to be kind of big changes. I'm not quite sure when the changes will be implemented. However, they are coming, and I think they're going to be nice. I think it's going to add a little bit of quality to this. Be more of a steady thing here instead of me constantly just transporting my laptop back and forth and risking this thing going down, and then we're kind of screwed. You know, that kind of thing. We'll at least have something here all the time, and then we'll have this for a backup. And then Jay's for a backup of the backup. So I think that we're actually doing this the smart way that way.
No, I need to actually get the program on my laptop. That way
Yes.
it is set up and ready to go if we ever need it.
Yeah. I agree. Trying to think of anything else coming up. We do have Comic-Con coming up, but that's at the end of March.
Yeah, that's in a couple months.
So if you guys have any suggestions on what we should dress up like, because I'd really like to dress up this year. We've never been able to dress up for it. I'd really like to dress up for it. I thought I'd just seen that thing around again. Yeah, I'd really like to dress up for it. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think Beth is really wanting to go with us again because she actually had a lot of fun last year, which I told her she would.
Yeah. I'm hoping they have that mystery box booth again.
I know that was cool.
That was cool. I mean, other than the fact I got a Barbie, but
that was still cool though. Like,
that was cool. Oh, we still got to play that game I have too, the Oregon Trail.
Oh yeah,
the Oregon Trail card game I have.
Oh, New Year's Eve for us, we actually got together. Jake actually came over to my house. He brought little smokies. We made meatballs and two different chicken dips, a barbecue chicken dip and a garlic buffalo chicken dip. Beth made it, who's my wife, made a fruit tray and veggie and cheese tray. Gotta correct that. And a sweets tray. So we had a ton of food. And Jay brought over the gift I gave him for Christmas, which was Ninja Turtle Monopoly.
Heck yeah.
And Beth actually bought me Ninja Turtle Uno.
Which I now own a copy of that too because I went and bought it.
And this is what our plan was for New Year's Eve. We were all just going to hang out, the three of us, and then my brother-in-law, Joe, was going to come down, and he was going to play games with us. So the four of us just sat in my kitchen playing Uno and Ninja Turtle Monopoly.
Heck yeah.
And these two games were so much fun.
Oh, it was. Dude, it was a blast.
The Ninja Turtle Uno adds an extra layer of fun in there with one of the wilds.
Oh, man. The sewer lid wild card.
The sewer wild card, where you could either draw no cards if you have all four colors in your hand. Because you draw until you have all four colors in your hands. If you have all four colors in your hand, you just play it as a normal wild. No big deal. But if you don't, you may draw one card, or you can draw half the stack before you get all four colors.
And what he means you play is you play the card. The person next, following you has to draw until they have all four colors, unless they have them in their hand already.
Which is awesome.
So you might have to draw one card, no card, or like 20 cards.
You never know. It is awesome. We had a ton of fun with it. And then we busted out Jay's Monopoly game. And you do not pay in money in that game. You pay in pizza slices and pizzas. Can you get that?
It was like glued shut, bro.
But you pay in pizza slices and pizza. And the game actually ends after all the mutant cards are taken out. So this is actually pretty cool and a lot of fun. I suggest going to find it. It's the Mutant Mayhem one, but it was awesome. And now Beth actually wants to get more Monopoly games. just for you to come over and play Monopolies with us.
I got Real Triopoly.
Which, by the way, we did actually play our Dungeons
played.
and Dragons Monopoly, and that one's like 15 times harder for like no reason. So like the rent on these things, like, because you buy the property, and the rent on it is like you to secure the location, you got to pay the person the money, which makes sense, but then you got to roll the dice. And you could get some money from the bank back, or you may not. And you may have to pay more money. It's weird. I don't like it.
So I got Real Triopoly, which I've never played.
And Beth accidentally ripped the board. Getting it out of the box. Like, ripped it right in half.
Yeah, because I got Real Triopoly. I've never played it. It's been in my cabinet. I also got Jumanji in the actual wooden box.
Oh, nice.
In my cabinet.
Nice. Dude, man, we need to get together and play some more games. Actually, Beth wanted me to invite you over sometime to play more games. Because she had a blast.
Dude, it was fun.
And she said, we need to do that. We need to set up another game night like that. She goes, that was so much fun.
Well, that's what we said that night, that we need to do it more often. Just, set aside a night for have a game night.
Yeah, she loved it.
Fun. It was a good time.
Which, actually, I started thinking about this. And the truth is, dude, we actually have 2 more games that we've never played. We literally have them right here.
Yeah. Yep.
This is just one of them. Which, they're both the Funko Harry Potter ones. But that's the bigger one that Jay has. This is just add-on.
Funkoverse strategy game, Harry Potter.
And honestly, this, I could actually just take home, and me and Beth could actually play this. This is just for 2 players. 20 to 60 minutes long.
Yeah, this is for 2 to 4 players, 20 to 60 minutes long.
So this could be fun. If you don't know, I'm actually a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a Gryffindor. Jay's a Ravenclaw.
I've really been getting into Harry Potter recently, so. Oh, yeah, down here. Yeah.
But, yeah, dude. Man, we do need to get together again and play some more games.
Heck yeah.
Because I'm down, dude. I also have Risk. I don't know if you've ever played Risk.
If I have, it's been a really
it's like
really,
Shadow
really
Force Risk or something like that.
If I have, it's been a really long time ago. I know what it is. Like I said, if I have, it's been a really long time ago.
Truth is, I don't know a whole lot of people that's actually played Risk. It's not. It could be a very long game, or it could be a very short game, depending on how you play.
I used to have Sorry a long time ago.
I own Sorry.
I used to love that game.
I own Sorry, Trouble, Clue. We could play Clue.
Nice.
I
used to have Sorry, but like I got Jumanji in the wooden box.
I also have Monopoly.
Got
electronic banking.
I've got Real Triopoly. I have Turtles Monopoly. Thanks to you. I've got the Digital Uno.
Yeah, dude, we'll definitely have to work out with Beth on what games to play that next night. But yeah,
I've never ever played my Real Triopoly. I got it for Christmas. I think from Amanda and Darren. I think 1 year, and it's just been in my cabinet. Never played it.
Huh.
Like I don't even think the cards or anything is open to it. I think they're all still sealed in the box.
Damn. Oh, maybe we need to play that.
Like I have never played it.
Next year, dude, or this year, you need to take your hunter safety course because I'll be able to hunt next hunting season, and I'm in the process of trying to find places for us to go hunting. That way, you can get, harvest some deer, maybe some squirrels and rabbits. Yeah. That'd be awesome. We both got crossbows. Yeah. I gotta get a hand crank for mine though, man. I can't.
Oh no!
My carpal tunnel, dude. I can't pull that thing
unfortunately,
back.
mine doesn't have a place to put a hand crank one.
I actually found where you just put it on the butt of it, and you crank it back, and then just remove it. Because mine don't either.
Because, man,
I actually just found, like I said, I just found when it just you literally put it down like you normally would, put your foot in it, and then you actually hook it on there, and then you actually just sit it on the butt of it, and you just crank it.
Because, like...
And it pulls it back and locks it in, and then you're good to go.
But I actually shot mine with Steven and his dad's backyard. They both had crossbows, but they both had the fucking hand crank for theirs. I had to pull mine. I had the little thing that you put on there.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I need to shorten mine up
It is hard.
to give me that extra length, but I tried, and I was pulling, and then my wrist popped, and I was like,
yeah, that little rope with 2 handles that had like a little 2-clip thing.
Yep.
You clip on each side of it.
Because I actually need to sight mine in. I actually want to sight mine into, what is it? I want the last one to be sighted into 150 yards.
See, I don't know if mine's actually sighted into anything at all. But
I want to sight it into 150 yards because I think that crossbow will actually shoot 150 yards. I think. I could be wrong. If not, I want to sight it into at least 90. But I want one sighted in because it's a 3-dot. I believe it's a 3-dot. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
If it's you same kind of mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3-dot.
Okay.
Because I use the was this in the middle dot or the bottom dot on mine when I shoot with them, hitting almost dead on to the target. When I had my target hit their target with it.
So, but I want to try. Like mine actually has 3 different settings. So, when you click it once, it'll bring up a dot, and then you click it again, it'll bring up another dot, and then you click it the 3rd time, and actually bring up another colored dot. But it takes away the other 2 dots too. So that's all you have is, and you're actually trying to shoot that dot, basically. So I want to try to, get it sighted in. I want to make sure I can actually hit something with it before I take it in the woods and hunt. Because I don't want to be that guy. Man, be out there shooting, losing bolts and...
Oh, where'd my arrows go?
But I think that'd definitely be cool, me and you actually just go hunting one weekend. I mean, why not? I know...
Very, very quiet.
I know your...
Hunting rabbit.
I know your mom doesn't like deer, right? Your mom doesn't like deer.
No.
But you, your dad, your brother, everybody else does.
As long as it's not deer rights. Oh, that will forever be burned in my head.
Hey, those deer rights were delicious.
Oh, they were good. They were good.
I have no idea what I put in them, though. It was just random seasonings.
But the way they came out later was not so pretty.
No. Especially 3 of us.
That poor house.
Poor Kelsey.
We had to be peeling the paint on the wall. Ooh-wee.
Actually, that was funny, though, because that's when Kelsey was still, I don't like deer. I don't like deer. I don't like deer. And it's like, just try it. And then she tried it, and then she ended up eating just as much as we did. And it's like, I thought you didn't like deer.
As long as it's prepared right, you really don't notice a difference, honestly.
No, you really don't.
If it's prepared right and seasoned right.
Oh, not season them things. Great.
Because otherwise, if they're not seasoned right, then yeah, you're going to taste it. It's going to be gamey taste to you.
Yeah.
It's done right.
But that's my plan for next year, or next hunting season. I want to be able to go hunting.
I
actually ran into my uncle, and I actually talked to my uncle about me hunting my grandpa's property, which is now his. And I was like, does anybody hunt out there? He goes, well, you got about 4 people that hunt out there for deer. He said, and there's actually one that actually pays for a certain weekend to go hunting. So nobody can go out there on that weekend. That's their weekend to go. Cool. I mean, I understand that. He said, however, and I was like, well, because I'm trying to find places I can hunt. He goes, I don't have an issue with you hunting the land. He goes, but you got to get with these other guys and make a plan out with them. Because they are the ones that are experienced hunting out there. That's fine. I mean, that's fair. How can I fault him for that?
Right.
He goes, well, what all kind of hunting you want to do? I was like, well, I'd like to actually go deer hunting, obviously. I'd like to go squirrel and rabbit hunting, too. And he goes, okay, well, there's only one person that actually hunts rabbits and squirrels, so you just have to talk to him about it. And he goes, the rest of them all hunt deer. He goes, just work out something with them. So basically, we're all not in the woods at the same time kind of thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't accidentally shoot somebody.
You know, I don't actually have an issue with that. But I don't want to only hunt there. I want to hunt other places too. And the way to do it is find out who owns the land and just go talk to them. You know, nothing else I can offer to help them around their property, you know, clean something up or something like that if they give me the permission to go hunt out there. So that's my plan. I think it's a good plan. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
No harm in trying.
Right.
Especially if I can stock my freezer and I don't have to go to the store.
Ain't a lie. Today's day and age. Oof.
But I guess we can actually end this episode. I'm sorry that Flight of the Navigator didn't take us as long to talk about. We actually did cover the entire movie, though. I said overall, I really like this movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Glad she suggested it, because I probably never would have watched it otherwise.
I wouldn't either. I didn't even know about it. And Beth goes, "Hey, have you heard of this one?"
Well, I mean, I seen it a couple times scrolling through Disney Plus, but I never was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch that." Like,
yeah. But yeah, Beth said, "Oh, have you ever watched this?" And I was like, "No." And no, I'm glad she suggested it. She told me, she goes, "It's a really good movie." She goes, "You guys should watch it and cover it." And so I talked to you about it, and you're like, "Well, I've never seen it, so yeah, let's do it." And it actually worked.
yeah.
Man, it's actually really good. I liked it. And this is actually the reason we actually say that Beth is a part of this. Because she'll find just random movies neither of us ever even heard of or thought about doing. And she'll be like, "Hey, why don't you do this one?" And if we need some like obscure movie found, she will put in the time and find it for us. Thanksgiving Promise is a good show of that. Like, she will actually put in the time and find us a movie. And so, yeah, I include her in the... She's part of this. She may not be on camera and on mic, but she's part of this. But seriously, like, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify. I know Spotify, I'm actually having issues uploading to Spotify. I'm not sure why, but it'll load about 50% and then won't let me load anymore. So I'm trying to figure that out. So if you guys normally find us on Spotify, but you couldn't find it, that's why. Kind of throwing that out there. You can reach out to us on Facebook. Those Two Guys Talk Disney. We do actually have Facebook. Give us a follow. Message us there if you want to. Or you can just email us. Those Two Guys Podcast 1@gmail.com. I still haven't actually figured out how to give Jay access to that email. To be honest with you. So, but it does come to me. I will get it. Or you can seriously just comment on our YouTube videos too. Both of us will see it too.
Yep.
And we'll be back with you guys next week.
Catch you on the flip side.